The skies over Vantira dimmed as the last of the shield towers collapsed. The cities that once shone with crystalline brilliance now burned with a dull and bitter glow. The invaders had come without warning, without message, without mercy. They expanded across the continent like a mechanical tide, harvesting everything in their path. Vanterans fled from their homes, carrying only what they could cling to. Their leaders tried to establish escape routes, but the machines cut each one down. Soon the government sent its desperate and final call for help into the void. It was a 20-second transmission, a plea to any species within range. No one answered. No one even acknowledged the message. The galaxy was silent. For weeks, the Vantirans believed their extinction was inevitable. Then something changed. A signal returned. It was short. It came from a world they had barely catalogued. It was called Earth. The translation unit offered only 3 words. "We are coming." Many on Vantira did not believe it. Others hoped it was true. The elders debated whether it was a trap or miracle. But the machines continued to advance across the continent, and hope was a rare thing. At dawn, the Vantirans gathered on the high ridge overlooking the ruined city of Vanner. They waited for any sign of salvation. Silence hung thick across the valley. Then the clouds tore. A dark silhouette descended from the sky with thrusters burning bright. Another followed. Then another. In moments, the entire horizon filled with armored vessels. They were not elegant like the ships of the core realms, nor luminous like those of the higher guilds. These were brutal machines of war forged from black steel and reinforced plating. They looked like creatures that had grown claws. The Vantirans trembled as the fleet hovered above them. Their elders whispered that the humans were rumored to come from a world so hostile that every life form there fought tooth and claw daily. Some believed the humans were shaped by storms that could shred metal. Others said their oceans boiled with wrath. None of these stories were true, but the Vantirans had no reason to doubt them. A ramp extended from the largest vessel. Figures strode down. Their armor was thick, matte, and scarred as if they had survived countless battles. Their helmets were shaped with narrow visors that glowed with cold blue light. The wind shook as the first human removed his helmet. His name was Leo. His expression was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He studied the valley and the broken towers with a gaze that made even the nearby soldiers straighten. The Vantirans stared at him. They had imagined monsters. Instead, they saw someone who looked surprisingly ordinary, though hardened by challenges they could not fathom. Beside him walked Mira, a specialist in first contact. She carried a translation unit and a kit of supplies. Her presence softened the tension a little, but only a little. Behind them marched a squad of armored figures carrying heavy weapons that hummed with dangerous potential. The Vantiran elder approached them. His voice shook. "You came." Leo nodded once. "We heard you." The elder lowered his head, overcome by relief. "You are the first to answer our call. Then let's make it count." Leo turned to his squad and gave a silent gesture. Without hesitation, the human warriors spread out, scanning the terrain and marking vantage points. Myra studied the elder. "Where are the machines now?" "Advancing toward the central refuge. They destroy everything in their path." Myra exchanged a glance with Lio. Humanity had seen such foes before. Not these exact machines, but enough mechanical threats across their own violent history to understand the pattern. Leo activated a small device on his gauntlet. It projected a map of the valley using local scans. Red shapes marked the invader machines spreading through the terrain. "They're everywhere," Myra muttered. "Not for long," Leo said. "Get the civilians deeper into the ridge. We'll handle the rest." The Vantirans hesitated. They had never fought beside humans before. They had heard the rumors of Deathworlders, creatures shaped by extreme conditions, beings whose resilience bordered on myth. But watching the humans move with deliberate precision made the truth clear. These people were not fragile. They were engineered by hardship, molded by necessity, sharpened by survival. As the machines approached with metallic shrieks and grinding limbs, Leo raised his hand. Now. Human drop pods screamed through the sky like meteors, crashing into the ground in geysers of dust. Armor panels slid open. More human soldiers leapt out, their faces steady. They formed defensive lines around the ridge. They deployed turrets, shield generators, and mobile artillery pieces that locked into position in seconds. The machines surged up the valley wall, their bladed limbs clattering. They fired beams that scorched the rock. They had obliterated every species that stood against them. They had never faced humans. Leo signaled. The humans opened fire. Thunder filled the valley. The first wave of machines exploded under kinetic rounds that tore through their frames. Others were ripped apart by shock grenades. A towering walker tried to flank the ridge, but Mira coordinated a unit that struck it with synchronized precision. Its core overloaded in a blazing flash. More machines charged. They climbed over the wreckage of their fallen. Their numbers were overwhelming, a tide of metal and hatred. But Leo stood firm, pushed them back. The humans did not retreat. They advanced. They moved with a rhythm that looked almost terrifying. Every step was calculated. Every shot was deliberate. Every maneuver was coordinated, as if they shared the same pulse. The Van Tyrans watched from behind their shelter walls. They had never seen such ferocity. These humans did not fight like soldiers. They fought like survivors who refused to yield. The machines tried to adapt, but the humans were faster. They flooded the valley with strategies the machines had no programming for. They used terrain as a weapon, turning cliffs into choke points. They used smoke not to hide, but to lure. They used noise to misdirect targeting systems. A heavy machine unit broke through and charged straight toward the Van Tyran shelter. It fired its beam cannon, slicing through the ridge wall. Van Tyran screamed. Leo sprinted across the field with speed that defied the weight of his armor. He planted a demolition charge beneath the machine. It tried to impale him. He rolled, pressed the trigger, and the machine erupted. The shockwave hurled debris across the valley. Leo staggered but did not fall. When he stood, the Van Tyrans stared with awe. Mira met his eyes and nodded. Next wave on the left. I see them. The battle raged for hours. The sun climbed high, then dipped low. Smoke blanketed the valley. Machines continued to pour in, but their advance slowed. For the first time since the invasion began, the Van Tyrans saw the enemy retreat. Myra signaled for her squad to press advantage. The humans surged down the valley. They destroyed the machine factories that had been hidden in the ruins. They dismantled the control towers. They planted charges that collapsed tunnels. Soon the machines fractured into scattered groups without coordination. As night fell, the last mechanized crawler tried to flee. Leo raised his rifle. One clean shot. The crawler collapsed. Silence followed. Real silence. Not the silence of fear. The silence of victory. Van Tyrans emerged from the shelters with trembling limbs. Some cried. Others fell to their knees. The humans gathered their equipment without ceremony. They moved with calm efficiency, checking supplies and scanning for remaining threats. Mira approached the Elder again. Your world is secure now. The Elder exhaled, a sound filled with gratitude. You saved us. No one else answered us. Only you. Leo stepped beside Myra. We help those who ask. It's simple. It is not simple. The Elder whispered. Your world is one of storms and quakes and predators. You survived where many of us could not. Leo shrugged slightly. We did not choose our world. We learned to live with it. It made us stronger, not cruel. Myra smiled softly. And sometimes strength is exactly what someone else needs. The Van Tyren children approached cautiously. One of them held out a broken piece of a machine. Leo knelt. You want to see how it worked? The child nodded. Leo showed the inner components. Mira joined him, explaining the simplest parts in terms the child could understand. Soon more children gathered. The older Van Tyrens watched, surprised by how gentle the humans could be. The galaxy called humans Deathworlders, monsters forged by brutal environments. But the Van Tyrens saw something else. They saw protectors. The humans stayed for days repairing infrastructure and teaching defensive tactics. They built shield generators using resources the Van Tyrens had thought useless. They taught them how to fortify mountain passes and build resilient shelters. They left behind a small defense team to train the local guards. Before departing, Leo met the Elder One last time at the ridge. The wind was calm now. The valley no longer echoed with mechanical screams. If the machines return, the Elder said quietly, Will you come again? Leo nodded. If you call, we answer. The Elder bowed in deep respect. Your world is feared, yet you brought us hope when no one else cared. Mira smiled. Fear is often just misunderstanding. We are not what the galaxy thinks we are. The humans boarded their ships. Engines roared. The fleet lifted into the sky, leaving trails of white light. The Van Tyrens watched until the last ship vanished beyond the clouds. For the first time in many cycles, they felt peace. They rebuilt their homes with renewed spirit. They carved monuments on the ridge. They told their children stories of the day the sky